Hey y'all, so I want y'all to come into the kitchen with me today because we are making some more soap. This soap right here is going to be a Yoni bar. So right now I got my coconut oil in the bowl, and then I got my olive oil that I'm pouring in the bowl. Next I'm going to put in some castor oil because I want to make sure that this is nourishing for that Yoni. And I'm also adding in some almond oil. That's actually the castor oil right there. But for this mixture, it's coconut oil, almond oil, castor oil, and I'm throwing in my favorite, of course, that cocoa butter, because what we want to do is cleanse, moisturize, and make sure that we have some antiviral characteristics in this bad boy. Okay, so now we are throwing in our cocoa butter so we can go ahead and throw in that moisture. You hear me, baby? We have to hit it a few more times with that cocoa butter, baby, okay? Triple moisture around that thing. You hear me? All right, so now I'm adding in my ACV lye mixture into this bad boy because I want to melt down my butters and I want to start emulsifying this bad boy so we can go ahead and get that oil, water, and lye mixed all together. All right, y'all. So I'm taking my time with this. A nice bar. I am not soap doing too much blending with this. I am really stirring this around so I can melt down that coconut oil and cocoa butter and just really get things cooled down a little bit. And then I'm going to throw in my oils that I had originally put into this bowl. I had to separate it for this process, but I'm going to throw them back into the bowl. And this is just going to help things cool down before I start adding in all of my goodies, okay? Okay, so we have gotten most of the butter and the coconut oil melted down, but now I'm kind of just pressing down on that cocoa butter to try to get this thing melted down a little bit more, okay? This cocoa butter is really slowing down my process here, but we're still going to take our time because we do not want our soap to start seizing up. Now, as you can see, I'm adding in those oils, right? So even though the cocoa butter is not fully melted, this is where I can kind of blend more to help this process melt and also to start getting my soap prepared for all my little goodies that I'm about to throw in here. Okay, y'all, so now I'm adding in my coconut milk powder so that we can have some soft skin, not just on the vajayjay, but also for the rest of the body if you want to use the soap for the rest of the body. And I also threw in some bentonite clay. And now I'm just throwing in my fragrance. Today, I chose to use some spearmint fragrance, okay? Spearmint is light. It is soft. It is not too strong. And again, this is going to be a Yoni bar, so we don't want to do anything too over the top. Now I'm just blending in that kaolin clay, and I'm blending in, I'm sorry, it's not kaolin clay. I am blending in my coconut milk powder and my bentonite clay. I made a couple soaps today, so bear with me, guys. I am slowly stirring this up, and I am lightly shooting some blending in there from my emulsifying blender, but I'm not doing anything too dramatic here. I am taking my time through this process because the worst thing is for your soap to cease and then you have to go and do the hot process method. So because we want to have a cold process Yoni bar, we are going to take our time. Stir and blend sporadically. Okay, so now that it's at a consistency that I am cool with, I'm going to go ahead and pour this thing into a soap mold. I had quite a bit of soap. I made more than what I thought I did. So I had to go ahead and get another soap mold and put the rest of it inside of that. So now I have 2 loaves of this Yoni soap. So I am pouring my soap into my 2-pound soap mold because I had just enough to fit in a 2-pound mold. The first mold that you saw was a 3-pound mold. So I'm gonna let this soap sit just for a little bit so that way I can take my spatula and my spoon and try to make a few designs in the soap. So I had to play around with this a little bit because the soap still was not at a consistency to where I really can put any designs in it. So I had to let that sit a little bit longer, and then I grabbed a 3-pound soap mold and I started to try to put some designs in this soap. And it still was a little bit of a liquidy consistency, but it was something that I can kind of work with. This is not my best design, but it is all right. This is pretty doable. So we're going to go ahead and just play around with it a little bit more and just see what happens. Okay, so I unmolded the soap, but it is not quite ready. So I'm going to have to go ahead and just set it aside before I can actually cut it. I made this soap on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, and today is Sunday, so it's still pretty soft and it hasn't hardened up just yet, but I'm just loosening an actual cut. But I wanted to just show you all the soap and show you that I added some sea salt on the top. So we're just going to go ahead and package that thing right back up and see if it's hardened up in another 48 hours so I can cut it.